Hi, this is David Scarlett, and I want to welcome you back to this third article in the series, Standing Out from the Crowd. In my two most recent emails and blogs, this is what I did. Firstly, I explained that those companies who most successfully attract eager clients and customers, flocking to pay them and willing to pay a premium for doing so, well, these companies understand one thing. These companies understand that to possess a magnetic quality in a ruthlessly competitive market, they must be capable of asking the right questions at the core of their thinking. And the question that holds this sort of magnetic power is this question, why? Because it's the question why that provides the greatest power in any business. And I went on to give you the examples of the sort of why questions that produce world-beating answers. Then in the second blog, I touched upon 7 factors that you must have in place before you can even start approaching your target market, if you're to be successful, that is, and win the ideal clients of your choice. And I explained that you must have put these factors into place before promoting your service. And they were, number 1, a clearly defined target market. Number 2, a clear understanding of your market's burning problems, frustrations and concerns. Number 3, a clearly articulated service which can be understood in a couple of minutes. Number 4, a clear articulation of the results your service creates. Number 5, a clear pricing structure easily understood by clients within seconds. Number 6, a clear positioning strategy to capture the hearts and minds of your target market and avoid other types of possible clients. And finally, number 7, a specific differentiation, what makes you different. Then I've spent time discussing how and how not to define and describe your target market. In particular, why you needed to describe who the individuals are and what they do before you describe anything else. Today, what we're going to do is focus on just 3 of the 7 standing out from the crowd factors, and this will help you to prepare for the 1-hour Standing Out from the Crowd webinar, which starts at 12 noon this Friday, 15th of April. By the way, the webinar is free. The 3 factors we'll focus on today are these: what we mean by your market's burning problems, frustrations and concerns, how to articulate the results your service creates, and then what is meant by a clear positioning strategy. So, in Friday's webinar, I'll explain why all 7 factors are so important, and then on Friday, I'll focus on the 1 factor which is understood only by a handful of advisors, and that means that if you do understand and implement this factor, you'll automatically send your business's reputation soaring head and shoulders above your competition. And this factor that I'll focus on during Friday is a clear positioning strategy. And the reason I'll focus so fully on this factor is because I strongly believe in the pivotal impact of shrewd positioning of your business in the hearts and minds of your prospective clients. And when you own a particular space in the hearts and minds of your prospective perfect clients, your competition will find it very hard to capture their attention, regardless of what else you or they are doing to create an excellent business. Meanwhile, let's have a look at the first of today's 3 factors. Having a clear understanding of your market's burning problems, frustrations and their concerns. When we conduct workshops for our inner circle clients, we love using role plays to explain certain principles that we're discussing. I have to tell you, one of the most telling role plays is when we ask a delegate to act as a prospective client as if they're in a first meeting with a financial advisor. Now remember, all the delegates at the workshop are financial advisors. Their role play partner, who's playing the advisor, then asks a question like this of the client delegate. So tell me, James, after 15 years of running this specialist delivery company, what exactly are the problems and frustrations you're wrestling with today? For the next couple of minutes, the delegate who plays the client starts yakking on about pensions and investments and how they're a concern right now, and they can't understand why the rest of the delegates in the room watching the role play start chuckling after about 30 seconds. What their colleagues point out after that role play is that very few clients of that type, let's say small business owners aged 50, have pensions and investments at the top of their worry list in their life. In fact, that's one of the last things they're worried or frustrated about. When I questioned the delegates, the long list that they produce includes frustrations such as pressure on profits due to the recession, motivating and retaining quality staff, increasing tax burdens, fragile relationships at home because they're never at home, a feeling of being trapped because there's no clear exit strategy. Aren't those the kind of problems that a small business owner wrestles with daily and weekly? Now you may be saying, but hold on a minute, I can't solve all of those problems. I'm a financial advisor or financial planner. Well, of course you can't, but that's not the point at all. The point is this. Firstly, do you even understand the problems they're wrestling with? And can you articulate them clearly so that they, the target market, can see that you do understand them? Because unless you can, your target market will have very little time for you. You see, every human being sits up and takes notice when somebody simply understands them, speaks their language, appreciates the struggles in their world. When they see that, they're prepared to give you the time of day to whatever else you have to say. For example, where do you think I'd be as a business strategy and marketing coach to the financial services sector if I didn't understand issues around RDR, gap filling, compliance, cash flow forecasting, RAPs, recruiting versus outsourcing, back office systems, ISO standards, VAT on fees, recurrent revenue, advice versus planning, life planning, wealth management? Just where on earth do you think I'd be if I couldn't understand those issues and discuss them coherently? Does the market expect our business, the Advisor Gym, to solve them all? Of course not. That's ridiculous. But advisors listen because my language and the language used by my team tells them that we understand what they're wrestling with. So our marketing starts at a point of credibility. And where there are problems which our expertise is simply not designed to solve, well, then we can orchestrate many of the solutions through the use of alliance partners. And in many cases, you know what? You could do the same. Let's move now to the next of today's 3 factors: how to articulate the results your service creates. The easiest way to understand this factor is to use the term outcomes. What are the outcomes in a client's life once they've engaged with you and your service? What meaningful impact, what results, what changes, what outcomes does your service have on their life? Outcomes. And being able to articulate those likely outcomes, particularly in writing, is one of the factors that firstly enhances your credibility, and next makes your service even more attractive in the perception of your perfect prospective clients' minds. And it's perception that really rules. What's interesting is that there are 2 types of outcome. Firstly, those that are intangible and those that are tangible. Let's have a look at the difference between the 2 types. Intangible outcomes are those changes that happen to a client that we define as being internal. So, for example, peace of mind, more confidence, a sense of greater security, feeling more in control of their life and their money, more hopeful about their future. Can you see the intangible outcomes that your service could create? Whereas tangible outcomes are external results that you and I can see, measure and touch. For example, the client's ability to exit from their executive role 5 years earlier than they'd imagined. That's measurable, isn't it? Saving 30% of £700,000 inheritance tax liability. That's really measurable. And yes, they can build that annex and take that Asia Pacific trip they dreamed about. That's measurable, it's tangible, they can touch it. You can see what I mean. Clients, I have to tell you, will pay a lot of money for advisors who not only help solve problems and deal with frustrations, but who help them attain specific, tangible aspirations and yearnings. So, understanding how to communicate outcomes is a fundamental factor in your marketing strategy. Finally, let's look at what is meant by a clear positioning strategy. Now, we're going to focus heavily on this in Friday's webinar, but let's look at what we mean and what you need to do. You remember that positioning means owning a particular space in the minds and hearts of your target market, a space where you and your business are the name they think of when they think of a particular need. To start with, you need to be clear about what space you want to own. What is it that you want your target market to understand about you? For example, Seven Investment Management used Justin Urquhart Stewart, who you will know, very cleverly as their marketing director. Justin's boyish countenance, his knowledge, his easy language and quick wit, they all make him one of the most recognisable and trusted market commentators on television and radio. He owns a particularly emotional position in the hearts and minds of the professional who use 7IM, and they know that, and it will be a while before other commentators replace him in that position. Then think about how hard Marks and Spencer work to own a position in your heart and mind that is completely different to that owned by, say, Tesco. The pictures, the language, the ownership, your M&S, all of these have an impact on the way that you perceive them, and it's done purposely. So, have you decided what position you want to hold in your target markets, minds and hearts? And how are you going to do it? Is it easy? No. Otherwise, all advisors would be doing it, wouldn't they? But with help and advice, you can do it. Unless, of course, what you want is just to be perceived as a Me Too advisor, the same as all the rest. But the first step, the hardest step, is deciding what you want them to believe about you and your business, and then having that expressed in everything that you say, that you write, and that you do. My personal experience is that this level of thinking can take time, but my goodness, the result can be that you lead and even dominate in your chosen target market. Would you like to do that? Because you can. So in summary, today we've looked at 3 fundamental factors that you need to get clear if you're not to waste years of your life, masses of energy and thousands of pounds promoting your business and then finishing with a client base you didn't want in the first place. We've looked at what we mean by your target market's burning problems, their frustrations and concerns, how to articulate the results your service creates, both tangible and intangible, and what is meant by a clear positioning strategy. Now, I invite you to join me in Friday's How to Stand Out from the Crowd webinar. It starts at 12 p.m. I aim to finish at 1 p.m. and it's free. And yes, I will be recording the session, so as long as you register, you can receive access to the audio recording. Oh, and did I tell you that webinar attendees will receive a £600 discount? That's a £600 discount on our forthcoming CPD accredited Dominant Marketing Strategies program. Didn't I mention that before? Well, I'm letting you know now. And one other thing you'll be able to get your hands on. I'll also explain how you can receive 10 free copies of the new edition of the Amazon Top 20 book, The Soul Millionaire. My inner circle clients are already using this book by sending it to new and existing clients of theirs in order to both influence the way new and existing clients think about money and to position themselves, the advisors, using the ethos expressed in the book within the minds and hearts of their perfect prospective clients. And that's clever. So if you want that £600 discount, if you want to find out how to grab 10 free copies of The Soul Millionaire, just register for the webinar below and I'll see you there. That's Friday, the 15th of April, 12 noon. Until next time, this is David Scarlett wishing you success, meaning and fulfillment in your business.